Hi, I'm Chrissy and this is a tiny bookcase. Welcome. Today I want to share with you one of the oldest books that I have in my library of my own collection, and that is my copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. Actually, I think I purchased this about 2002 or 2003, somewhere around there. I was at a half-price bookstore, and I was so excited to come across this book while I was searching among the shelves. And I just love Alice in Wonderland. And when I saw this the front of this book, I just got so excited because it's such a lovely cover. I enjoy looking at this cover. We have Alice and the White Rabbit sitting among the flowers and the grass, and I just adored it when I saw it. It is an illustrated class. It is an illustrated edition. So, and there are also colored illustrations in this book. And originally, I had the idea of actually tearing out those illustrations and using them as artwork um, in my home. So when I first purchased this book, I had that was my intention, that I was going to pull out those illustrations. But once I got the book home and I was going through it a little bit more, I just kind of decided that I didn't want to do that. I felt it would be horrible to destroy the book by pulling out the illustrations, and I just didn't think that was the right thing to do. So I decided to keep it intact. Now, this book was quite fragile back then, and I didn't really know when it was published because there is no date in this book. But as I was going through it more carefully at home, this receipt fluttered out of the book, and it's an old receipt. It's gotten a little discolored over time. It looked more pristine when I first saw it and I picked it up. And if I get it closer, you can see that there's a date in the corner and it says December 11th, 25. So I'm possibly thinking that this book was purchased in 1925. Now, I'm not sure exactly because on this receipt there is no description of the purchase. There is only a price, which the amount is $2.25. It just says, "This is your receipt, thank you." On the back, it says, "This is your receipt," and it shows the exact amount of your purchase. J.D. Van Winkle Company, real retail and wholesale book sellers and stationers, books, toys, dolls, novelties. 1603 Elm Street, Dallas, Texas. So this bookstore was in Dallas, Texas. Um, so I don't know any more than that, and I'm not exactly sure that this is actually the receipt from the book. It could be a receipt from another purchase, but I know that sometimes when I purchase books, I do tuck the receipt in the book, and sometimes I'll find old receipts when I'm rereading my books or going through them again. So it's possible that this book was purchased in 1925. And again, it doesn't mean that's when it was published, just possibly when it was purchased. But there is no date in this book, so I can't really tell you how old this book is. It's possible it's from the 1920s. I know for sure it's at least almost 20 years with that I have owned it. So at least over 20 years old, and that would make it one of the oldest books in my library collection. But I'm thinking that it's possibly older than that. I really believe that this is the oldest book that I own. So this book says Lewis Carroll, The Washington Square Classics on the bottom. On the top it has the title and of course a beautiful illustration of Alice and the White Rabbit. And when you open the book, you can see the end paper. There is a faint illustration. I think it's like a mustard yellow color. I don't know if that was the original color, if it's just faded over the years, of birds flying around in the clouds. And as they get closer to the bottom of the page, there is more detail in their wings. So that's a lovely illustration there. Then there's another title page. There's a page with all listings of other books from Washington Square Classics. And among the books that they have, besides Alice in Wonderland, they also have Andersen's Fairy Tales and Arabian Nights, Grand Fairy Tales, Treasure Island, and other stories, classic stories. And so when we turn the page, you get another colored illustration of Alice, and she's coming down a flight of stairs. And I think it possibly could be when she's in the White Rabbit's home. It has a little script here that says she floated gently down, and she does look quite miniature, so it could be right after she's eaten one of the cookies and has shrunken down. Here we have a plated title page where it says Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll, illustrated by John Tenniel and Eleanor Abbott, published by George W. Jacob and Company, Philadelphia. So this was published in Philadelphia. On the next page is pretty much blank except for the script that says printed in USA, and that is that there is no date. So I don't believe at the time that Lewis Carroll wrote Alice in Wonderland there was copyright, and possibly when it was published there still wasn't. I'm not sure, but there is no date in this book, and as far as I can tell there hasn't been any pages ripped out, so I have no idea, you know, when this book, again, like I said, when it was published. We have the table of contents, and then there's also a table of contents for the colored illustrations. So the first one is on page 74, and I'm going to be very careful because this book is quite fragile, and which is why I have never really read this book. Here is one of the first colored illustrations inside the book, and it's a picture of a house, and the script says the frog footman was sitting on the ground, and so you can see him right there, and Alice is approaching the house, and I'm guessing this must be the White Rabbit's house. There's another black and white illustration. There's several of those throughout the book, but they don't have listings for which pages they're on, just for the colored illustrations. Here's another one. It's a very lovely book, and I wish it was in more pristine condition. I try not to handle it very often because it is so fragile and old, and I'm sure somewhere there's a librarian or book historian that's saying you should be wearing gloves when you handle this book, and it should not be handled as often so it can stay intact, which is why I was being very careful, because I'm sure at this point the pages will just come out on their own. So I was trying very hard to preserve it so that wouldn't happen. But for the most part, I usually keep this in my curio, locked in my curio, facing outward so that I can see it and look at it often. I enjoy getting glimpses of it. I have it in my bedroom, my curio, like I said, and so quite often I'll stare at the illustration on the cover, and it just brings a smile to my face. But yes, I don't handle this often. I just wanted to just do a book review for you, since I did feature it in a previous video that I posted recently about cottagecore aesthetic books, which I felt the criteria for the cottagecore aesthetic. So then I thought maybe it would be a good idea to do just one whole video dedicated to this book, since it's a very old book, and I love this book very much. So I thought I would just want to share this and get more detail with it. and I couldn't do that in the previous video because I had several to show. But I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed taking a peek at my book. It brings me a lot of joy to see it every morning when I look at my curio, and I hope that it makes it for several more years. I wanted to, but as I said, it's very old and fragile, so possibly it could deteriorate more in the future, but I hope it makes it to be around for quite some time. So again, thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed this video and will consider returning for more content such as this. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. But until next time, take care, God bless, and I'll see you soon. Bye.